Ladies and gentlemen, coming around behind us here, he ducked behind a tree. Must have been watching Larry. I'm talking about Paul Woods and the North American F86 Sabre. All right, those of you with cameras and camcorders, get them warmed up because he's going to bring this airplane through right now. The first thing he's going to do is he's going to do a photo pass. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Wood, the North American F86 Sabre. This airplane had so many things going for it, it wasn't funny. 6 50 caliber machine guns in the nose, also capable of carrying wing ordnance. Now, this was a fighter. You ever hear of a place in Korea called Mig Alley? Tell you what, there was a general. Well, he's a general now. I don't think he was a general back then. Boots Blessé was his name. He wrote a book that is still required reading in the Air Force today. No Guts, No Glory. Combat tactics developed during the Korean War. Here's Paul Wood, the Sabre. He's going to go up onto the vertical here, his first maneuver. As you can see, he's using a lot of sky. He's got a General Electric J47 turbojet engine, 6,000 pounds of thrust. And as you can see, this airplane uses all of it. Boots Blessé took this aircraft and developed techniques that were soon to prove very, very bad for any of the MiG pilots out there. Now, this airplane has several unique features. There were several different versions of the F86. They went to a later version. They changed the wing on the airplane to what they called the 6-3 or the hard wing. The initial airplane, the initial design, F86, had straight wings. Well, they knew it was going to be a clunker. The Germans, during World War II, had been doing experiments regarding swept wings. North American took the German data, kicked the wings back on this airplane, and built a legend. Paul Woods, the F86 Sabre. Demonstrating aileron rolls with this airplane. This was the first jet that North American ever built, and because of that, the airplane had a couple of little quirks to it. At the higher speeds, if you were to put the stick hard over and try to roll the airplane, if you move the stick to the left, the airplane actually rolled to the right. The wing proved to be a little too flexible at the higher speeds. It was a thing called Aileron Reversal. And this airplane will still do it today if you get the speeds up fast enough. Contrary to popular rumor, this airplane is not supersonic. It is what we call transonic. It's right on the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-point hesitation roll. Paul Wood, the F86 Sabre. You had to be careful with that because you could be closing in on the enemy. You got the guns hot. You're on the tail of this MiG. And you hit the ailerons just a little bit to close the gap up on him, and the next thing you know, you're rolling away from him. You don't want to know the kind of language many pilots used when that happened. Trust me, it wasn't good because it allowed the MiG driver to get away, and that was one thing that we didn't want to happen. Coming around from the right. Nice pass this time. He's going to demonstrate a barrel roll, I believe. Let's watch for it. Pulls up, rolls the airplane ever so slowly. Very, very gentle barrel roll. Now, when we call this airplane transonic, it'll do about Mach 1.05, I think, but you gotta push it over. You gotta be in a dive to do it. And let me tell you, the stories I have heard, this airplane is not happy at that speed. North American would later get an airplane that would be able to break the speed of sound in level flight. It was called the F100. Coming around from the right, looks like he's going to bring this baby in for a landing, doesn't it? But Paul is staging out of Madison. But what he's going to do is he's going to dirty the airplane up. He's going to drop the slats. He's going to drop the flaps, the landing gear. He's going to hang the speed brakes out, otherwise known as hanging her on the boards. It's going to show how much you can slow this airplane down. And a little wing wag there as well. Oh, he doesn't have rollers coming up. He did not have the speed brakes out. Okay. They pop out of the back of the fuselage between the wing and the tail. Around for a high-speed pass. He's going to push the throttle to the stop, crank that J47 up for all it's worth, and bring it around. This airplane, by the way, is owned by the Warbird Heritage Foundation. Go on the internet, www.warbirdheritagefoundation.org. They're out of Waukegan, Illinois. You can find out all the information you want to find out on this beautiful F86. He is going to crank this thing up. He's banking around. It looks like he's going to come around right over us. But I'll tell you what, this airplane here is burning a tremendous amount of fuel. I believe, I forget the fuel consumption, but it's a lot. It's just slightly less than your average home heating furnace. Hang on to your shorts. And a victory roll right through the hole. Well, he keeps it going for another one. Paul Wood, the North American F86 Sabre. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, mommy, what a beautiful airplane. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got to sit in a cockpit of one of these aircraft many, many years ago. This is an airplane you don't sit in, you strap it on. It's a tight cockpit, and it's a very, very interesting airplane to fly. I've had the privilege of seeing a couple of these things. Never ceases to amaze me how right North American got the design. And of course, North American Aviation, they built a lot of airplanes. They built the AT-6 Texan, the B-25 Mitchell, the legendary P-51 Mustang. They went on in the jet age. They built the F86, the F100, and then my personal favorite. There's only one in existence, the XB-70.
Your favorite. You love that airplane.
I love that airplane. She's big, she's bad, and she's beautiful.